The Seattle Sounders have just finished their preparations for tomorrow's game with Orlando FC. I'm Masvidal Mara for CascadiaSports.net. He is the star, and Nico Moreno for Polo Sports. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. No, happy to be on as always. Yes, Pulso Sports, thank you for bringing me in to talk a little bit about a tough home game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and obviously there's no Raul Ruidiaz, right?
Sure.
Just because he's got a family matter, unfortunate situation in his family, and you actually reported it. You can always go to Nico Moreno. He always has the news. But besides that, Sounders coming off a 1-0 loss to LAFC, a home game, and which you are saying is a tough home game. What are you seeing?
Well, there's a lot going on, right? I mean, the fact that Christian won't be here, no Alex, no Jordan Morris, all that compounds the fact that we've seen how this team doesn't play the same with certain components, and all of those players make this team better, right? And you're going against a Orlando team that specifically in the midfield, they have a lot of talent, and they're very versatile in the way that they can attack, right? The thing about Oscar Pareja and this Orlando team is that you can kind of tell how they're going to play the game depending on personnel, right? So if they're going to be more physical, they're going to try to play more pragmatic. They'll usually go with Wilber Cartagena right next to Martins, right? Sometimes if they're going to be a little bit quicker with the ball, more in transition, it'll be Cesar Araujo with Martins. So it depends on how they play. But a team that has that many players to just do different things, it's always hard to play against.
And we know Smetzer talks about, always does, and he did today again, and we're going to show that in just a moment. They want a fast start, right? And they're going to press high, right? They want to play that exciting type of attacking game. How is that going to play into? So is that going to force Orlando to go with a quicker lineup, or do you think that Oscar Pereira just says, you know what, he picks whatever he wants just based on his team's form?
No, I think that's a great question, and I think because Seattle has some players out, he's going to want to take the game to Seattle, even if it's here at home. So I do particularly think that there's going to be more of a box-to-box midfield in that holding midfield for him. I think they're going to be very forward on the attack. Ivan Angulo, Colombian player, extremely fast on the left side. You got Ojeda, who plays a little bit wide, but he does allow the right back to come in, so he'll go central and become just another player that might centralize the game for him. So I think that they're going to take it to Seattle, and they can expect that, in my opinion, that's what Oscar's going to do. He's going to want to start off with a goal. He's going to want to start off being the protagonist in this one. So Seattle needs to be ready for that.
Yeah, and Seattle, it'll be interesting. So now I'm going to watch the chess match. And usually with these games, watch in the first 18 minutes. That's when both teams will make an adjustment. Like, if Pereira comes out and he's attacking, will the Sounders, they'll want to, so you might have two counter-attacking teams, kind of what you had in LAFC against the Sounders. But in terms of like the 18-minute mark, if there's no goals, that's when you make the change. Because part of Seattle is also about absorbing some type of pressure and then counter-attacking. So we're going to go. Right now, we're going to hear from Brian Smetzer and Aber a little bit. So here's what they had to say after practice.
Be aware, but Raul flew home to Peru. His father passed suddenly, and so he will not be involved in the match, but we expect him back on Monday and Tuesday after he takes care of his family and things like that, so he won't be participating in the match.
I saw that it looked like his dad may have died on the 20th. Was he aware of it on the game day?
He was aware when his father passed.
So you played.
not easy. So we respect his privacy. That's all I'm going to say on it. It's a sad situation. It's gone too early, but that's get busy living. That's what you got to do.
Not having a role obviously affects
Yeah.
what you guys are doing. How do you? I mean, you're missing a lot of guys right now. So that's just another one on the list.
Well, Raul was actually on a time limit anyway, coming back from his hamstring. Him and Nico were on a time limit, so Raul wasn't slated to start here anyway. So Bear was going to slip in there, but certainly I could have used him off the bench if the game isn't going in our favor. But we'll make do again. We still have Montero, and we'll still try and score some goals.
I get the sense of Brian, even though the 2 points in 4 matches, I feel like your team is doing okay here. We're still in the mix. You feel that way? Or?
Yeah, I'm bummed that we couldn't pull 3 points out of Charlotte. I think that was a game. It was a winnable game. The LAFC loss certainly, it stung because we gave up that goal in 45 seconds. But after that, it was an even match. And everybody's addressed the challenges that we're facing with the Gold Cup and all that. But we'll persevere. We've been here before. We've been through some tough moments and seasons, and figured it out at the end, and just keep that streak going.
Brian,
There's still a belief that you have the group here that you need to get the result in Simone.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at our form at the beginning of the year, I thought it was pretty good.
Is there anything that you've identified that you just have to do better?
Goal scoring, just consistent goal scoring. I mean, we've been up and down, and part of that is the, unsettled nature of that position up front. Look, the guys that are gone at Gold Cup are going to come back and help, and then, the thing is it Jordan, is it Raul? Where does Jordan and Chu fit in? We're going to have to make some tough choices down the second part of the year, and we'll make those changes, and the team, when it's entering the playoffs, we'll hopefully have it figured out.
on the goal scoring, what specifically are you not getting inside the box? If we assert that Leo's getting down the wing, what is it that's missing?
Well,
besides
Leo getting down the wing is one part of it, and his choice of passes, his execution of what he sees, and then the movement in the box. Like, look, Leo Chu played the ball right to Raul's right foot inside the box. Goalkeeper makes a great save. Normally, actually, I've seen a couple of goals like that Raul scored against Portland. He scored many, many goals inside the box, and that goalkeeper makes a save. And then when Obed Vargas, comes down on the opposite side, I mean, that's a header from 4 or 5 yards out. It actually hits a goalkeeper. I'm not so sure anywhere else it goes in. And so, those are just moments that they're not falling for us right now.
And you're comfortable, you're getting enough runs in the box?
Yeah, the one thing, maybe to your point and Maz's point, Jeremiah, is, have we got enough goals from the midfielders, from Albert, from JP? JP had a couple bangers from Minnesota, back last year. Nico's been goal dangerous for us in the past. Albert certainly has that within him. I think we need to get a couple other guys to step up, score a couple goals. I think that would help.
How much conversation goes into Leo understanding who that 9 is and where that 9 likes to be, right? Jordan likes to be in specific positions, Raul likes to be in specific positions, and then Eber. How much goes into that before games?
Well, Leo Chu's a smart kid. He knows who he's playing with. Would he prefer to play with Jordan? Maybe. Is he going to pass the ball to Raul? Yes. Hopefully he gets the right pass and the right combination to Hebert tomorrow night. I think we work on all of that sort of stuff. It's timing, it's decision making. Sometimes it's patience. Sometimes he gets here and nobody's in the box. He's just got to keep it, and we recirculate the ball, and maybe we get a better opportunity over on the opposite side of the field.
On the midfield, creating goals in addition to the front, I mean, what's the messaging there of go up when the opportunity's there without leaving your defensive?
Shots from distance. Look, we play with 2 pivots. One pivot should always be top of the box. Okay, and then Albert and Nico playing in those pockets. Actually, now they're both inverted.
Right.
So Nico's coming on his left and Albert coming on his right. Or that is the hope, get them into more shooting positions.
Alex is a very big part of what you do, both on offense and defense. Yep. How do you feel like Cody has been adapting to that role, maybe getting a little bit more confident going forward?
He's been good. Look, we're going to start him again. Just some consistency. Reed came on. Maybe Reed's a little bit more attack-minded, but Cody's going to be fine. He's going to be a solid MLS player.
Other places. How does that happen for you guys? What needs to happen to get a little more variety in the scoring?
I think the last couple games we created a lot of chances, and the chances tomorrow, the chances we used to play, we have in this part. If we score, we put our fans behind us, and have a lot, give a lot of opportunities.
Is it more passing? Is it more ball movement? Is it more tactics? Different tactics?
It depends on the game. Some games we need to more tactical. Sometimes we might leave it well. Let's see how we're going to come tomorrow. We need to understand the way we need to play.
I'm good. Go for it.
Wait, oh, you're the only one asking questions? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I'll do it in Spanish at the end. Go ahead.
Just you're playing at home. How important is it to start out, with a lot of energy and a fast start?
Of course, when we play home, we have our crew behind us. We have to give everything in the beginning of the game to show we want, to show you're trying to win again. And tomorrow we need to win. Doesn't matter how. We need to push a lot ourselves. Not 100%, but 110, 101. If the Orlando come 100%, need to go 101. Need to have more anger with him. Each ball, duels, and the chance we have with this card to put the crew behind us.
And the opportunity when you're pressing, just the opportunity to, create turnovers and counterattack.
Of course, this is one part of our game. Turnovers, you need to press higher on the pitch, because if you get the ball or on day out half, we are close to our goals. We have fast players. We can score.
Okay, there you had it. You heard some B-roll. You saw some B-roll, and then you heard Brian Smetzer and A-Bear. And so, given all of that and what we talked about, give me two things that you need from the Sounders.
Number one is going to be...
Give me three, guys.
Number one is going to be, for me, better decision making from the wing play, attacking the flanks. Mainly Leo Chu, because he's been the primary player that gets forward to find space. But that final pass, where Aber's going to be, we talked to him. We asked him if he has that conversation with Leo about where he likes to play the ball, because as you all know, it's different to play with Jordan, Raul, Aber at that 9. Everybody likes the ball and they gravitate to different spaces, right? So where that connection is going to be important for me. Defensively, Shadow's giving some very preventable goals, right, in transition moments where they've just been negligent with the possession of ball. So can they be better at that? They need to be. And then finally, I think Cody Baker, Alex Rodani is such a big part of what Seattle likes to do, right? They hold Nuhu back, they play with 3 in the back, and it's kind of this 3-5-2 in which Alex is the one that gives you a lot of that width. So can Cody replicate that? Can Cody continue to be maybe more confident, a little bit more precise, and getting farther up that final third? So it's not so predictable only with Leo, but now you have somebody else who's going to give you a different outlet.
Okay, so I'll bite and I'll kind of add on to those 3 points. In terms of Cody Baker, we'll have to wait and see like his decision making, right? They're going to want him to stay back. He is no Alex Roldan. There's no doubt about that. But we've seen him in a couple games that when he's in advanced position, he actually is good at passing. He did play center back before in midfield, so he's got the ability to make those passes. But when he goes up the field, it's going to be critical. Secondly, when you go to the midfield, I think the midfield has to apply pressure. João Paulo and probably Vargas, and stop that before Orlando gets into their thirds, the Sounders' third, and then make it difficult for the center backs. And I thought at LAFC, there was the counterattack there, and it would have, I think, prevented a goal a little bit had somebody pressured the ball when he came down the middle. So that's the other thing, is that defensive midfield, the fulcrum that Brian talked about, has to be cleared defensively. Sure, the transition, but you got to stop Orlando FC in terms of them getting to the spots that they need in the pockets that they want. Look at, as you said, about that talented midfielder. As far as Leo Chu, I think we can, he was in the box 7 times. I also think it's critical for the other players to make the runs inside the box. There has to be multiple runners. It just can't be, the inside post run there has to be somebody following that. Maybe a third coming from the midfield so that Leo does have 3 options, but he has to drop it back, not cross it so much. So, yeah, I think it's those 3 things that we talked about are going to be critical. So, any one last point before we go?
I know. I think that's where you make the big punch, man. I mean, that center midfield place has to be perfect. In LA, you saw why Seattle was not as subjective to transition moments because of a guy like JP. He was tracking back so far out. He was being able to hold so much space. He slowed down Buanga a few times. There were moments in transition where it was his play, where he was just containing. Maybe he wasn't getting the ball immediately and winning that duel, but he was containing and keeping the shape intact. And that's going to be key against our Orlando team that loves transition and loves that quick play out wide.
Nah, there's no doubt about that. The battle of the midfield is going to be critical. Seems like that's what we say about every soccer game, but to your point, especially in this one. So he is Nico Moreno for Pulsar Sports. I'm Osvita Maria for CascadiaSports.net. Thank you all for watching and listening.